Today I'm going to show you guys how to make this troll themed fabric tutu. This one is for a size 5. So I just did a simple straight cut at the bottom, nothing fancy. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me show you guys the material that you guys are going to need. Okay, so the material that you're going to need for this particular tutu is, you're going to need fabric, obviously. I got 4 different colors. You can use as many colors as you want or as little colors as you want. But for this tutu, I got 3 yards. So all this adds up to 3 yards. Each of these is 1 yard. Each of these shades of pink is 1 yard because the tutu is going to be mostly pink. And then each of these is only half a yard because I just want to add just a little bit of green and blue to the tutu so that, you know, just to give a little bit of extra color in there since this is a troll themed tutu. You're also going to need some, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't remember, I think they're shear scissors. Put in the comments down below if I'm saying it wrong, but I think they're shear scissors. They're zigzagged. They're not like those ones that you use to cut paper with, like all the different designs. But yes, they have like a zigzag to it, and what it does, it cuts the fabric so that it will not fray. So it leaves like a zigzag, and it cuts it so that it will not fray. So you're gonna need a pair of these kind of scissors, also regular scissors if you just choose to cut it like that. You're gonna need like a pen or some sort of marking tool, like either like a fabric pencil or a fabric pen, or just like a regular pen. I just used a regular pen. You're gonna need a ruler. I just have this ruler right here. You're also gonna need a cutting board. You're gonna need some non-roll elastic, and this one is about, I think, 3/4 of an inch wide. You're gonna need a safety pin, a pretty large one. This one's about 2 inches big. And then you're also going to need a needle with thread or embroidery floss or whatever you choose. And also you're going to need a sewing machine. This is my sewing machine. Let me show you guys what it looks like. So yes, this is my sewing machine. It's the Brother JX2517. This is the one that I use. Okay, so I already have all my strips cut. If you guys want to know how I cut them, they are all each 3 inches wide and 12 inches long because I'm making a size 5 tutu. And for the size 5, you need about, the length is about 12 inches. So I have 12 strips of, okay, I have 6 strips of each of the lime green and the blue. There's 6 strips each of those. And I have 12 strips of each of the pinks. So there's 12 strips of this pink, and then there's 12 strips of the polka dot pink. So that's how many strips of each color that I cut using that yardage. That's just extra that I have left over. So that's how many strips I did of each color. If you do less colors or more colors, you're just gonna have to do the math like accordingly. So that's how many strips I did for this. And we're gonna go ahead and sew it together. I didn't do anything special to the bottom. So yeah, you can cut the bottom like diagonal, you can cut it curved like this. You can cut it like was it like a tail like that, or at like a point like this. You can cut it however you guys want. I just did all of these straight because I like the way that one looks as well. So, but it's up to you. You can cut them whichever way you guys want. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and start sewing. I already laid all of my pieces. Sorry, you guys can't see. I already laid all my pieces in the order that I'm gonna do them in. I'm doing the 2 pinks and then 1 blue, the 2 pinks and 1 green, and then the 2 pinks and 1 blue again. You guys can put it however you guys want, but that's how I'm doing it for this tutu and these colors. So yeah, so let me show you guys again. There's the polka dot pink, the swirl pink, and blue, and then polka dot pink, swirl pink, green, polka dot pink, swirl pink, and blue, and then it just keeps going like that. Polka dot, swirl, green. So it's just like that all the way through. So now what we're going to do is we are going to sew the casing. These strips are already folded in half. I forgot to mention that. They need each strip long wise is 24 inches long. And when you fold it in half, it makes it 12 inches long. So that's how you guys need to cut your strips. I forgot to mention that. So it is supposed to be folded in half to make it 12 inches long. The strips are all 24 inches long. So now we are going to sew a casing for the elastic, and I'm going to sew about an inch from the folded edge right here. So I'm going to go an inch inward, and I'm going to go ahead and start sewing. On your sewing machine, usually they have like measurements here, so it'll be a lot easier to keep it straight. That way you guys can keep it at exactly an inch. I think all sewing machines have them. All the ones that I've ever seen and bought have actually had the measuring there, so it's really good to have something like that. So go ahead, and you can use whatever color thread that you want to use. I'm just going to go ahead and use white for this video, so that way you guys can easily see the thread. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and start. So you're just going to sew a little bit, obviously, and then back stitch to lock it in place, and then sew all the way down. And once you get to that end, I like to get my next color and then just continue to sew. So that way they're all attached to each other, and that way you don't have to worry about all the different pieces. Okay, so now that I have them all sewn, this is what it looks like. They're all attached. So they're all attached to each other in the pattern. Just pink, pink, blue, pink, pink, green, pink, pink, blue. So yeah. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get our elastic. So you cut your elastic and you use the safety pin, you put it on the end. You cut the elastic according to the size that you are making. So I'll have the list of all the sizes for the length and the waist measurement in the description down below, so you guys can check all that out. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get started on putting this through. So you're gonna find your end, which I'm gonna actually go to this end over here. So you're gonna find the end, and here okay, so the green is the end here. So you're going to get your safety pin and you're going to slip it through that casing that you made. Okay, going to slip it right through. And you're just going to push it through. Just like that. And then you're going to keep slipping it through. The next one, and pull it all the way through. And you're just going to keep doing that. Just try to make sure that the elastic doesn't twist, which is why I like to get the non-roll elastic, because that way you won't have to worry about it twisting and rolling. Yeah, this part is a little bit time consuming, but once you get the hang of it, then it gets easier. You're just going to keep doing that until you get all the way to the very end. And while you're doing it, the colors are all going to bunch up together. You're going to have them all bunch up together like this. Okay, so I have it all on the elastic. This is what it looks like. And I left about 2 inches on each end, like this, so that we can sew it together. Now you're going to overlap it about 1 inch. Make sure that it's all not rolled up or twisted or anything under the under this area here. Make sure it's all flat and even. And then you're going to overlap it 1 inch. You can either run it through the sewing machine with the zigzag stitch, or you can hand stitch it with, sorry guys, or you can hand stitch it with the needle and embroidery floss. Hold on, my camera, technical difficulties. Okay, it's falling. Yeah, with like a needle and thread or something, you guys can just stitch it or whatever. But I'm going to go ahead and just run it through the sewing machine. Okay, now that you have it sewn, you get your, you can even it all out. Just kind of tug on it, and then I usually like to tuck it inside on both ends. Just like to tuck it, so that way it hides it a little bit. Where'd it go? Right here. So just tuck it all up in there, and then kind of tug on these to make them even, to make it look nice. So some of them are more bunched up than others. Like over here it seems really bunched up, so I'm just kind of tugging on them and evening them all out. And there you go. This is what it looks like. You can add a bow to the waistband here. I do have a tutorial on how to add bows or flowers to the waistband. I usually would just sew it on. Make the bow and then just sew it onto right here. Like hand stitch it on there. But for this one I'm not going to add a bow to it. I'm just going to leave it just like that. Or I might. I don't know. But I'm thinking I like it just like that because this is for an older girl. So have it more like a skirt. So yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments or send me a message on any of my social media pages, my Facebook pages, Instagram, Twitter, you know, all that. Go ahead and contact me on one of those social media places. I also have Snapchat as well. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Leave a happy comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share if you guys want to, and I'll see you guys for the next tutorial. Thanks for watching.